Good morning, witches! I am back for the second time this week. We're doing really well. Okay, so this is actually a VR video, and it started at Guidwife, I believe. I did watch her video, but the one that I saw was She Who Walks Between the Worlds VR to her, and then I was watching another VR in response to Drue's video in response to the other video. So this is just an overall VR to the Living a Magical Life. It's not a tag, it's just a bunch of VRs that everybody seems to kind of be doing. So I thought that I would jump on this bandwagon and kind of get some stuff out there about how I try and keep my life magical and interesting. And I do a lot of this stuff even when I am not particularly feeling incredibly witchy. So I feel like this is a lot of good stuff, both normally and in a witchy way, I guess, if that makes sense. I do have a list here of all of the things, so if you see me looking down, it's the list. In fact, I could just hold the list up here. Okay, so first and foremost, I've been wildcrafting a lot, so I'm gonna just say that. When it's summertime, oh goodness, when it's summertime, I like to harvest all of the things that I can and kind of get everything ready for winter because, surprisingly enough, this area is very fertile with a lot of very good magical and just herbal good stuff in general. It is a very good hotspot for that. There are blackberries for days, and I am waiting very anxiously for them to bloom, which they have not done yet. And then I will be out there probably every night picking blackberries until I have far too many. Then I'm gonna try my hand at canning again. So recently I have been doing a lot of wildcrafting, and that has really kept me in my element as far as just being magical and realizing that I am putting all of these herbs towards a purpose, towards something that I want to achieve, and it kind of is an everyday thing that I'm keeping up on as of late. Another thing that I do, because it's one of those things that usually has to be done, is clean the house. And basically, ever since I started working with Hestia, cleaning the house has been a lot more about keeping the hearth nice, keeping the hearth welcoming and just inviting and a safe space for me and for my boyfriend who live here, for anybody else who comes into our home. And usually when I clean, I put on my Hestia head covering, and it makes it that much more devotion, I guess, to her when I'm doing housework. And it can be everything that is boring normally housework, dishes and vacuuming, but it does have more of a significance when I am doing it with her and with Hestia. I don't know. It's something that I've only been doing recently, but it really seems to help and make me feel like this mundane task is that much more witchy and magical. Also, I really, really love tea, and that's another one of those kind of mundane things that is turned into a very witchy moment when I make and share tea with my boyfriend, and it makes me feel a lot nicer, just like, hey, here's a small thing that I can do that makes me happy, so I assume it'd make you happy. Like, here, do you want some tea? And I have been lately subscribing to the Sips by Box tea subscription, and I'm going to do an unboxing when it gets here. My second box, because I kind of drank my first box. So, yes, making and sharing tea with people is something that I like to do nearly every day. And since these are kind of a daily thing, kind of what you do during the day, during an average day, to make your life feel more magical, that is one of those things. Same note on as that is the cooking and kitchen stuff. My boyfriend is the cook in the house, but I do like to be in the kitchen when he's in the kitchen and kind of it's kind of a good bonding moment, if nothing else. Especially after everybody gets home from a long day of work and you kind of that's the first time you actually get to kind of wind down and have a conversation in the day. And I think it's really helpful kind of to bond again, but also kitchen witchery, cooking things. Not to say I don't cook. When I say he's the cook, normally. Not to say I don't cook, because I really like cooking. A lot of times I don't know, it doesn't really turn out necessarily well. Okay, a couple other random things that I don't necessarily do every day is my planning Sabbats, and I know because I completely missed the solstice last week. That doesn't really sound very true anymore, but I'm planning extra hard because I completely forgot about the solstice. So for Lammas, I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the other pronunciation of that Sabbat. Anyhow, for the first of the harvest Sabbats, I'm actually going to make mead from scratch. And I am now collecting all of the ingredients for it, even though I've got like a month. And we'll actually see if I have all the ingredients by the end of the month. Also, I am constantly in contact with my spirit guide and with other random spirits. When I went wildcrafting, there was a lot of energy, people, things in that area that were just flooding in. I went, and as most of America was completely inhabited by the natives, and they used the plants a lot. So I completely understand their connection to these plants that I am now gathering off of their land. So when I went walking the other day, I was having a conversation with specifically this one spirit that kept coming in and telling me which plants were the best to use, where to stay away from, etc. It was kind of scary because it's hot outside and snakes and just all kinds of any number of things. And I was walking along a highway that I figured, oh, it's okay. It's not a very busy highway. But every time a car would go by, it was going 100 miles an hour. That's what it felt like. I was very scared. And then there's like a cliff wall on this side of me and the highway on the other side. And I was walking with a cliff over here, and I was bending down to cut up some yarrow, and a bird came out of a little cave in the cliff, and that scared the shit out of me. That was really, really scary. Anyway, so I was talking with this one spirit a lot during that, and how to be respectful and how to gather things respectfully. It was a very good experience. And I came home with a lot of yarrow. If you're on my Instagram, you would have seen the yarrow that I came home with. So, yes, talking with spirits is particularly something that I also just do randomly and just about every day. No, it is every day. I can't say that it's not because it's constant. Also, doing like God and Goddess dedication stuff unintentionally. I meant to study the violin for Apollo when I first got my violin, and I've been kind of shirking on practicing that. It was crazy out of tune, and I got really frustrated, and I tried to put it back into tune, and I broke the bridge. Like, it fell down, and with the violin, the strings are the only thing that are holding the bridge up, right? And so I had to start all over again, reposition the bridge. It was terrible. But then I got to understand that it was kind of like, hey, you're not doing this thing. If you put in the dedication and the time and work to try and get it back into tune, that's your challenge for the day. So I finally got it back into tune, and then I went and I stood on my porch, and the sun was coming down, so I was full on in the sun playing the violin. and I think that was a very special time. I have been kind of most working with Apollo lately. That's a longer story than just that I will probably tell in some other video. For now, though, yes, working with the gods and goddesses, just in something that you use to dedicate yourself, or some project that you're working on with them. That's what I do. That's what I do. Yes, I do a lot of drawing and a lot of painting, and there is a painting up on Celine's altar that I did for her. So a lot of my art is very meaningful as well. I do color coordination, like, not necessarily clothes because I have to wear a work uniform, but painting my fingernails specific color to reflect an emotion or something like that. I do meditation very seldomly. I should do it more, and I know that. I also, like today, I'm wearing my little pentacle earrings, kind of as a way to just incorporate my belief and my path into everyday life. And then also just an overall trying to take care of yourself, trying to take care of the people that matter to you, and trying to boost that bonding energy, but also the just well-being, I guess, of your entire household, which is kind of hard to keep up sometimes, but it's something to work on, I guess. Anyhow, that is a list of some of the things that I do to have a magical lifestyle, and I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely, if anybody else wants to do this video, please send me a link. I love watching videos of other witches doing things. Anyway, that is all for today, and I will see you guys hopefully sometime soon. I will definitely film myself making mead when the time comes, because I'm super excited about that. If I make it beginning of next month, it should be ready by Samhain, which I'm hoping. And that celebration is going to be lit. Okay, I will see everybody later. Have a good night, guys.